It says we are live.
Oh, no
Yes.
countdown today.
Oh wait. Let me look for the countdown tab. Where is our countdown tab?
Hello, coconuts. Welcome to another weekly stock market update. I'm Anthony.
Okay. I just saw
Ah,
it. I just
you.
saw it. I just found it very cute. Anyway, Reggie here. Yes, I'm finally on the show once again. Right. So thanks for having me again. Nice.
Yes, a special guest and a special treat for everyone. So yeah, we have lots to talk about today. I think there's the big news with Roku and the agreement with Google. That's one that I found really interesting.
Yeah, I mean they're finally gonna get over their dispute, right? Right, which was quite a thing, and I mean based on Roku's business, there's a lot to talk about. We're also gonna talk a little bit about Cisco today. We're gonna focus on Cisco's continued shift away from the hardware business, where its margins have been shrinking, and now the management has come out to say that we're gonna double down on this whole hybrid workplace kind of situation. So I think that's some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, work from home will just continue on, and we'll just keep talking about it. And lastly, speaking of work from home and the pandemic, we can't not talk about Peloton and well, what they didn't do or what somebody did in an entirely fictional setting. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, yeah, keep slowing, Peloton, keeps slowing. Yes.
The share price is terrible.
Oh my
It's like a
goodness.
downhill. It's like a downhill ride, man. No challenge, no resistance. I will just go straight down.
Yes, yes. Someone on our Telegram group was asking like, "Oh, when is this like a growth stock decline gonna end?" It's like a sea of red. Right? Any thoughts on that before
Yeah.
we go into discussion?
I mean, I think we're really just biding time until the Fed meeting tomorrow, right? Or
Just
the
tomorrow,
release of
yes.
the minutes tomorrow. So
Mm.
that's why we are here talking. But next week's episode, I think we will definitely dive a lot deeper into it.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest, Jefferson, coming on as well, who's really into the macro stuff. So keep a lookout for next week.
Nice, nice.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add on trends or macro stuff before we get into the topics?
No, no. I mean, I'm gonna leave the whole FOMC thing to Jeff next week, right? He's the quant guy. He's the pro, right? So studies macro, and we'll have him on the show. Super happy to have him on the show. New guy on the show to kind of beef up the whole repertoire that we have, right? So we can provide everybody
Yeah,
with
we have to just stop saying that, or I have to just stop saying that things are too expensive, right? And have a bit more of an overlay to it.
yes, yes. So he will be coming on to help us with those stuff. Yes.
Cool. All right. So just onto this week's topics. Roku. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, they're the largest now in the game, right? I suppose. Previously, when I heard of them, that was like a few years ago already. But yeah, yeah. Oh my God, pandemic's been 2 years, guys. so
Ah, time flies when
yes,
you're having fun at home, working from home, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
having fun, but Roku has been around. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, for our listeners in Asia, because Roku essentially has non-existent market share here. They are essentially an OS for TVs. So you have Android, you have Apple for phones. What Roku does is they install their software and they are the OS for TVs, so you can access your Netflix apps, your YouTube ads, all of that, right? And what's changed is that they had a dispute with Google about whether their platform could show YouTube and YouTube TV. And thankfully, as a shareholder of Roku, that has now been resolved, and the share price went up 10%. I mean, it's down 40%, from like 3 months ago, but whatever,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Small wins.
yes. We'll take whatever we have, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see your rate
A
of growth
green day
stocks.
feels so much better than a red day.
I know, but just want to say that's not how investing should be. But I know, I know it's, but I know it's nice. It's nice to feel that way.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's the psychology lah.
yes, it's the
Let's
psychology,
put it that way.
and
It's just managing emotions.
it is, and I think for Roku, it's an interesting position because previously when they were getting battered by Google, and not just Google, right? Many other people also gave them a lot of problems. But Google was the biggest problem, because I mean, you get the idea, right? But previously, Roku wasn't that big in the space yet, right? But during this whole pandemic, they really grew, and they got to a whole new level, right? So I think it's on Google's part. It's a little bit like, oh, this kid is no longer as kid anymore. Like they're serious now, right? So in this transition, I think the incentive structures have changed for Google to be able to want to say like, oh, okay, maybe we can work with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, right? I saw the whole dispute thing as Google trying to wear two hats. So, they wanted to have their own OS for TVs, which is a different form of Android. And they were like, oh wait, we actually are giving services or earning money through this platform Roku. I want to incentivize my own platform. So let me, push them a bit to see whether they fold and I can get better terms, or I just withdraw my services altogether and advantage my Google OS or TV OS, which is anti-competitive conduct if you think about it. But let's not go there, right? So I mean, I am extremely positive that Roku got something out of this. Google wanted to strengthen their competitive advantage, and it ended up. I mean, we don't know the exact terms of the agreement, but it seems very much like they couldn't, and I think this is just a bit of an indication of Roku's kind of bargaining position in the entire market.
But why do you think this is important? I think for our listeners tuning in, like, why is it important that Roku, in some way, won this discussion, or at least we came to a truce, right? So why is this important?
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it, right? If you, I mean, Roku is essentially all they are is a platform, and they want to have Netflix, they want to have Disney on it. Can you imagine switching on the TV, you wanting to watch some videos and realizing, oh wait, your TV doesn't allow you to stream Netflix. What's the point of the TV then, right? And that's the same for Google and YouTube. If you want to watch a simple YouTube video on your TV, you don't want to pick up your phone, open Chromecast, stream it to your TV, and then that's just too many steps. You want it native, right? So for Roku, it's really just accessibility and then showing that they are an interesting platform to be on. Quite interestingly, they don't actually take revenue share from Google. So, for instance, if it was Google on the iPhone, they would pay 30% of revenues to Apple as the App Store gatekeeper in that sense, right? That's the whole anti-competitive discussion there. Roku doesn't really take a single cent from Google for providing the platform service. It's so in that sense, the commercial benefit for Roku was really quite tangible. It's just being the best or being more widely available, and whereas it poured like tens of millions of dollars into YouTube because apparently in the US, about 40% of TVs are Roku TVs, which is a lot of penetration actually.
Yeah. Very big penetration. I mean, that's how they started, right? They really started out as a spin-off from the whole Netflix shenanigan, trying to do the hardware stuff, right? And look at where they are today doing OSs, right? So it's kind of interesting, right? It's kind of like Square, in some ways, right? The small little dongle when it first started, just that thing, and then it grew. It becomes an OS because why does it become an OS? Because the platform is so big now, everyone uses it. And so now it becomes a platform and not a product anymore. So then it becomes an operating system on top of that platform, right? So I think that's where Roku becomes exciting.
Yeah, and you can sell ads on it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, that Square thing is really interesting. I think Amazon had a Fire TV stick as well, which was also the same dongle that allowed you to do streaming. Clearly, that didn't work out. Amazon Prime is nowhere, but look, I am bullish, right? I mean, that's the reason why I'm a shareholder, but I think that it's a growing space. Competition, it's important, but they are winning in a sense, and it really kind of validates, for a growth stock, the TAM, right? So, I mean, if they can beat the competition, it's going to be something to watch out for.
Cool, yes. And I came across a report talking about the TAM, total addressable market, by the way, guys, TAM. I've never called it
Not Team
TAM.
Tams?
But okay, TAM. So,
It's too long. Come on.
yes, I get it.
Right?
I get it. Okay, so TAM is growing, right? In a sense that TV on demand, which is what traditionally has been going on with this revolution of Netflix and Disney Plus, where everybody you got to pay, to be on the stream. It's a really very saturated and very big, by US standards, and maybe also in a lot of other global spaces. And now you're seeing the growth of ad-supported TV, which is where Roku is playing in, right? Which is a place where, it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like TV old days, but now the ads are done by a different bunch of people, no longer as native to content creators, but a lot more on the platform. So the platform is taking the money from the advertisers, right, and not the content creators, or at least not so directly the content creators, which is what is happening in broadcast today, right? So I think that's the interesting part, right, where you see, it's not just about streaming anymore. Now free on demand, like free TV with ads supported, can also be quite viable.
Yeah, I mean, streaming has many different models, right? We are very used to Netflix, and it's free, and it's completely, well, not free, but it's completely ad free, subscription based model. But there's a lot like Discovery with some sort of hybrid, right?
A lot of native ads, by the way.
Yes,
that's a whole different discussion altogether. Ad free, right? Ad free.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about product placement later, right? But I mean, other than that, you don't get interrupted by commercial breaks, right? Unlike linear TV. So, that's something I think I like it as a trend, but we'll see how it goes with Roku. I mean, we are in Singapore, or I'm in Singapore for now at least. You don't see Roku TVs anywhere, I would say. It's all dominated by Samsung, who has their own OS and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. So is there any other core takeaways for us? How would you play this thing, right? I know you guys always ask this question. How would you play
I'm a shareholder, so I keep holding.
Okay.
I'm a shareholder, so I'll keep holding. Right?
Yes. I'm a shareholder too, guys. Just to put a proclamation there, but it's not recommendation.
Yeah, not recommendation. We're just full disclosure, right? So I'll keep holding. I think if the Fed minutes come out bad, and we are just going to keep going down, we can add more to it. It seems like slightly risky because it has to play out in a medium to long term, but I think the benefits could be great, right? You are looking potentially at a market leader of a huge market, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the courts cut and they all go to Roku. Sounds very good.
Yes,
right? In my view.
Yes, exactly. All right. Sounds good. Then, well, I mean, we were talking about TVs. Why don't you talk about phones now and cell towers and Cisco?
Yeah, clarify. Cisco is not just about phones. So yes. But
I'm sorry. The only Cisco product I see is the work phone on my work desk that I have not used in 2 years or 7 months since I got back to the office.
I mean, let's be honest, right? Cisco is a last decade company. Right, let's be fair, right? So it's a company from the last decade where they were laying out a lot of cables. They were the biggest in the signal centers, signal cell towers. They were doing a lot of the hard infrastructure kind of business, and that was where they were thriving, and they were doing great because that was the time, of like 3G, 4G, the whole growth of the internet. So with more infrastructure comes more business for them. So they were doing great, and they were dominant in that space because 3G and 4G was pretty much dominated by the US companies, right? They set the standards, they lay the grounds, they do everything, right? So it's great for Cisco. But eventually, Huawei came along. So Huawei is a significant competitor. Okay, let's be honest.
Okay.
I can always be politically, neutral and say, there were other competitors. No, but let's be clear. Okay, in the space,
the big
Huawei
one, right?
was biting their lunch. Yes. Huawei was a big guy. So Huawei came along and made it cheaper, better, faster. Right? Okay, maybe faster is a big question mark. But cheaper and better in that sense, right? Cheaper definitely. So there were a lot more Asia markets that were picking up Huawei, and even the US, even in the European markets, a lot of them they couldn't resist, because I used to work in a cloud computing company, and you walk into the space and it's like, wow, everybody Huawei, huh? So it's because it's so cheap and so much better. So, for the price you pay. Let's be real.
For the
Let's be
price,
real.
right? Yeah, but
Yes, for
but
the
that's
price.
that's Chinese for you, right? They are good at producing at scale and quickly, and poof, and then after a while they just dominate the market if the politicians let them.
Wow, that
But let's
was
not go there too far.
very loaded. That can be a whole series on its own. Will politicians allow you? But okay.
Yes, I mean,
But
even
yes,
the
but
Chinese
yes.
politicians might not let themselves, right? So they're everywhere they go.
I mean,
But yeah,
but the reality is Huawei was biting their lunch, right? So essentially, margins were coming down, and competition was so fierce that it's not even about margins anymore. They were losing market share in hardware. So about maybe I think 5-6 years ago, I cannot remember, don't mark my words, but quite some time ago, Cisco's management decided, we will take a pivot into software. Right, so it sounds easy, right? It sounds like what everybody say. We just go software lah, we just do software, right? So or go cloud lah, go open source lah, whatever. Right? So there's always a keyword, but it's honestly very hard to shift, something like that, like a cruise line, right? Just look at look at the Suez Canal. Right? So it's very hard to shift a company this big, But I would say, like in the recent report that just came out for Cisco, their total revenue for services and software is more than 50% today. Right, so that is. Go ahead.
So when you say services and software, is it things that they add on to their hardware, or is it just a separate line that I sell other services and it's just a new BU that they have spun off?
Okay, so I would say they run it like a new BU, but it is not detached from the hardware in itself, right? So it's not like AWS has this thing, and then they're like, let's offer, to a whole bunch of people that we didn't serve prior, and this is like a whole new business altogether, right? No, but it's built on the hardware infrastructure, which is also very clearly stated within the management comments and management report, right? They were saying, our growth is a bit slower because hardware is still very tied to our software. I'm like, okay, fair. I mean, yeah, exactly, right? I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it because if you think about it,
they're not a software business, right? They are still kind of predominantly a hardware business with value add that that the value add has fantastic margins and they are creating more and more value add.
Yes. So it's a little bit like a Snowflake integrated kind of thing, right? Because if you think about it, Snowflake is really just managing a lot of the hardware, managing a lot of the data that's coming in from companies and all that, right? So for Cisco, they're trying to essentially internalize the whole process, managing the hardwares, also managing the data flow, managing the security. So all that jazz, I think that's kind of where Snowflake is really coming. Where Cisco is coming in from. But they are not like a pure software play. Yes, that's true. That's the reality. But you can see some sort of shift into that space with management saying that, we're gonna focus on the whole hybrid work situation going into the future. Yeah, so I thought that was cool.
Cool. So wait, how does that hybrid work thing work? For lack of a better word.
Okay, so I think let's be clear. Let's be very clear that not all companies use SaaS.
Okay.
So I think that we have to be very clear. Not all companies use SaaS, software as a service. So like maybe your Slack, Zendesk, I don't know. What else do people use? Like Office.com or whatever, right? So a lot of younger companies and smaller companies, they use a lot of SaaS. But when companies get to a certain level where they are deemed as an enterprise, they use enterprise level software. Very cute.
But that's still like Teams, hopefully Zoom, that sort of thing, right? At least in the communication space.
Yes. So I would say Teams and Zooms, they are competitors in some form to Cisco's software business. But I would say going forward, I think what they're really looking at is to monetize that complexity of data transmission and communication from an enterprise level to you being out of your office. Because I think that's the very complicated part, right? Where I'm sure a lot of people work in big MNCs and big enterprise. there's you log in your particular Mac or your particular computer, at a particular hotspot. Only then it works, the whole thing. You ship it out, then it's like, what's going on, right? So I think that's the part that Cisco is trying to crack. Focus on cracking, right? Not so much the whole video conferencing, Zoom call or Teams. That is only a very small part of communication, which probably what you can call the last mile communication.
Yeah,
where it's the call. But before that, the whole data management, how do we share around with all the resources, all the data, so that you can work anywhere you want while keeping the integrity and the security of the enterprise level. I think that's the big nut to crack for them.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. I mean, look, honestly, it just sounds like Microsoft selling Azure, right? And shifting people to the cloud and your endpoint security and all of that. So that intuitively to me seems, and because that's the company I've looked at, that intuitively to me seems like the competition. But yeah, maybe there's just devil in the details and we're missing something. All right. So my turn to ask you the question. What's your play here, right?
So I've been holding Cisco for a while. I would say that at this point in time, they are not showing a clear runaway in the sense of like, okay, we got this. We found a supermarket fit and we're gonna scale this BU like crazy. They're not there yet. So I am predicting that they will do what most big companies do. They will do M&As, right? So with free cash flow of $14 billion, every year, they do have a lot of money to buy up a whole software ecosystem if they want to. Right, so I believe that's kind of where they will play along, in this next few years, and it'll be great, I guess, for a situation now where a lot of big SaaS companies, they are all at all beaten down. Right?
Well, I mean, it's still extremely high, right? It's not a discounted valuation at all.
Yes. I know I don't have insights to the FOMC, but I'm predicting an increase in interest rates. So, or at least a stipulated increase in interest rates, and you will probably see the growth stocks come down further. So. Cool. Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, this sounds interesting, right? This sounds like a mix between your traditional type of stable dividend hardware business plus a growing software business on top, which it's growing, it's high margins, it's optionality, I would say. I mean, we don't know, it's not doing super well, but it's optionality.
Yes. I think it's optionality. It's an interesting company to keep a lookout for. I mean, they're not a small fry in the space, right? But at least if you want to talk about all the transitions that I've seen in my lifetime with like IBM, with like Intel, with like, Microsoft shifting out of, enterprise software, a lot of these companies that have shifted out, they all took some time, right? 5-6 years. And they will fire some management, close some BUs, structure, and then kind of put it together. So I would say Cisco is kind of at the crux somewhere around there. And you see their share price performing very well this year, I think up by 30%. Right, so for a company like that, it's considered very good, guys. Please, not everybody is a good stock, right? So,
not everything doubles like within 2 months.
Or like 5 months we double, or like one report, another 20% up. Come on, wake up, huh? Okay, but I would say for Cisco,
now it's one report 30% down. So I much prefer the 20% up days, man.
Yes, fair. I hear you. But I think going forward, that's where you will see them potentially breaking out, after they consolidate. So I want to see, as someone that is investor, I want to see management continue to double down on this product offering, because like you said, there are a lot of other people that are also kind of in this space, and they, as traditional hardware people, they have to continue to acquire talent, and talent in this space is very, very expensive. I'm sure we all know, right? So to have good talent to compete on the software level, to then potentially spin out as a BU, very separated from the traditional comms hardware department. I think that is still, maybe 2 or 3 years down. We could see some acquisition and some packaging, and maybe something will happen. We don't know, but at least at the core, great dividend company, making good money, free cash flow $14 billion, right? So there are a lot of things that can happen out of it.
Cool. All right. That sounds good. Then one last one, which is also kind of a hybrid hardware software thing, Peloton, right? But before we start about Peloton, and I think most people know what Peloton are, really we want to talk about Sex and the City. Come on.
Come on. Tell me
Come on.
about it.
Okay. Yes. So in case you don't know, Sex and the City has a reboot called And Just Like That. They premiered last Thursday. It spoiler alert, if you want to watch it, you haven't watched it yet, I think you can end the podcast now and destroy our statistics. But go, I give you 2 seconds to turn off, right? Okay. So what happened in the premiere of the new series is, well, somebody, a fictional character, I would say, a character on the show called Mr. Big, one of the main male protagonists, is a big Peloton user. He went for an exercise class and he died. Right? And I mean, look, it's fiction, right? Everybody knows this is a TV show, that there's no basis in reality. And guess what
I don't know why
happened to
I'm
the
laughing
share
before.
price?
What happened to the
Yeah,
share
come on, dude.
price?
What happened to the share price? It dropped 11% on a day, right? No news except for the new TV show premiere. Like,
Why?
people are crazy.
Oh,
I don't know,
fair.
right? I mean, I think look, Peloton has had lots of bad news. It's like, if you look at the share price, it's just going down and down and down and down and down with no end in sight. It's, I think, down 60-70% this year, right, from its all-time high. So yeah, anything that kind of tanks the stock, or that puts the stock in the backlight, it just tanks it, right? So it's down 11%. It was down 11% on Thursday, further 5% on Friday. Thankfully, they recovered a bit of it yesterday on Monday. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't
But
understand
do you have
this.
some like initial thoughts? Like, what are they going through? Why is the market like hating it so much today?
I don't know, right? I think if you really, really try to make a logical reasoning, you could say that, oh yeah, Peloton is something that's known for its marketing, right? They wanted, or their bull case was the Apple of connected fitness, right? And that means that you are great at marketing, you control a brand story and all of that. And well, if you could do all that, and you wouldn't have your product kill a character on a TV show, right? It's product placement, and apparently I have not watched TV series, but apparently it was very clear product placement. They cast a real Peloton instructor. They showed the logos very prominently, and they showed him dying, right? So it could, at a stretch, and I say this, at a really, really big stretch, be that it's bad marketing. They're losing the plot. They don't know what they're doing. I don't like management. Poof, I sell off the share, right? But I mean, honestly, come on, right? It's one event. I don't know if it deserves a 15% haircut of well, essentially $1 billion haircut of enterprise value.
But it's okay. I mean, there are a lot of other movements these days that I'm like, huh? Why? So I don't think it's a Peloton thing. But I mean,
look,
go ahead.
earning reports I kind of get, right? They are growing 30% instead of 35%. Oh, I don't like it. Sell down 25%. Sure, but this is completely fictional, and I don't understand this. But yeah, what are your thoughts besides just laughing and like this is a big joke?
I mean, great joke for sure, right? You're helping me. I'm very cold here where I am, right? So I think that's great. But I think the reality is, to me, Peloton is like super hyped, right? It's when I saw the product, I'm like, isn't this like just a treadmill with like or like some exercise machine with a screen that can sing to you or something, right? Just show you some extra stuff. It's kind of a TV plus a treadmill or something along those lines, right? So when I saw the product, I never liked it. I'm like, really? People do that? Like why would anybody do that? Like, but of course, very quickly, I was in the unwanted corner, right? I'm like,
yes.
Actually, a lot of people want this thing, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I don't know this shit enough.
Lots of evangelists, right? People love the product.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wow, okay, a lot of people like this, huh? So I'm pretty amazed. But I would say that, although I don't know enough of the product and I don't know enough of the company, I would say that going forward, as more people come out of the pandemic and all that, this is also one of the change in consumer habits, right? So of course, the change in consumer habits is something that has already happened. We want to see how much of the habit continues to retain, and how much of the old habits will then come back to replace the short term, pandemic habits that we have cultivated, right? So I think that's the general fear, and you see it reflect in their growth. Fair.
Yep.
And so I think that's kind of where I am on it. Right? Not a big fan. I'm like, dude, this is like, who does this? I don't know. But evangelist, okay,
I don't know.
evangelist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
evangelist, right? It's like how I don't understand people who
Mm.
just buy into the whole Apple ecosystem, right? But everybody has their preferences. Clearly, I'm wrong there, and then Pritch is right. But yeah,
Fair, fair.
it's something that it's hard to
Mm.
say on an individual level. But
Yeah.
let me give you more jokes, right?
Okay.
So in response to the share price dropping, Peloton management, and because they have a doctor on their board of directors, got that doctor who's a cardiologist to come out and say, well, this character might not have died because of exercise. Look at what he does in the show. He eats steaks. He smokes cigars. He's overweight. He
PR
might have family
disaster.
history. So yeah, it's not Peloton's fault, right? Exercise might have
Mm,
helped him. He would have died earlier. I'm like,
mm, mm.
yeah, lots of real world happenings to really a TV show.
PR disaster. To me, it's a PR disaster. I'll rate that a C, right? So wait, just to clarify, are you an investor in Peloton? Have you sold it
No,
down?
no, no, no. I've had it in my watch list for a bit.
Okay, okay.
Just to watch all this pandemic plays, but it just kept
Mm,
dropping. I never quite got the whole thing. I
mm,
always thought, I mean, and really cycling isn't my thing, so I just
mm.
I can't be bothered. Although it
Yeah.
does, this is something that traders might want to look out for, right? You have a piece of news, don't you don't see how it can be so bad, and you just buy the dip, and well, it bounces up a bit, you sell, you earn that 2, 3, 5%, and you're happy,
Mm,
right? So
mm,
so so different ways of playing, but I like
mm.
buying, I don't like selling. So yeah, this is a difficult one.
Yeah, I will not play it. Just saying. I will not run on it. I will not play. I mean, I will not cycle on it. Okay, but okay, just shout out to them. I think they pay the highest for streams, audio streams, right,
Mhm.
relative to their competitors, Spotify, I think YouTube, Netflix, Apple, everybody. The Peloton actually pays the highest to creators, right? So that
Cool.
is interesting. Yeah, it's much higher, like 2-3 times higher than everyone else. Okay, just saying. So that is interesting, but I really don't think this whole like paying a premium to creators is gonna like get the whole ecosystem going, right? Because it is
Yeah.
it is a lot more about selling enough of those machines, right, to be in many different locations, right? So I would think the next phase of development, if they really want to move in, will be less on the individual consumers, but more of an organized kind of gym, where the gym just buys everything, or they actually set up like Peloton Fitness Center, or like Peloton, I don't know, like sleeping pods like that, right? Peloton pod
Yep.
or something like that, right? So I think they need to do that if to get me interested, So because it is a classic Da Vinci business model, right? The
Mm.
whole like Da Vinci surgical bot, right? That
Yep.
whole like intuitive surgical, yes. So if you have a lot of that, it forms the ecosystem, and it allows that whole platform to play out, right? And people can kind of use it across a much wider system, right? So Peloton is also stuck in this situation where, if it's just at home, if it's just me alone, like, is it really that attractive over the extended period of time? But if they can really build up the ecosystem of having ease, so it's part of the pseudo sharing economy, having multiple touch points, building the whole sporting community, then maybe that will work, or maybe that could work. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think you are thinking, or what you want them to do is exactly almost exactly what management is doing, right? So they are
Mm,
rolling out new products. I mean, their treadmill died because they weren't safe enough, but they tried. They have a new
mm,
boxing class instead of just cycling. They do
mm,
sell Peloton bikes to gyms with discounted subscription, so you can go to Anytime Fitness and join a Peloton class instead of doing it at home. I guess,
Mm.
which is good for space constrained residences. So
Mm.
yeah, I think it's definitely on their mind. They are not a one trick pony. They just haven't found the other tricks yet, I would say.
Fair. They have not cracked the incentive system.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
I hear you
I
on
mean,
that.
if it's discounted enough, you have a relatively sticky product with people who love it, and it's just the optionality of hoping that management can build and create another stream, right? So it's not necessarily bad, I would say. It's just a work in progress, and well, you wait for the price to come down, right? To
Fair,
make it worthwhile to buy into the optionality, I would say. Yeah.
fair. So
So
that
still on
will
my
be your
watch
play.
list, not deleted it.
Okay, still your watch list.
Yeah.
Okay, never on my watch list. I don't think it will ever be on my watch list. Okay, but it's okay. I think we got to put it out there that learning how to invest is not about investing in everything.
Yeah.
Or it's not even about writing every single thing, but it's really about increasing your hit rate when you decide to ride on something, right? So I think that's kind of where it is. Cool,
Yeah,
nice.
cool. I mean, we have different
Cool.
interests, right? So we look at different things. Like if I wanted a hardware play, I wouldn't look at Cisco. I look at something else. So, it's just the different starting point. I think that leads to people being interested in different companies. We don't all need to look at SaaS or hyper growth stocks or growth stocks. You can look at traditional, stable, dividend yielding stocks too, right? Which we don't really
Yeah.
cover on the show, but
Why do I
that's
sense some undertone there?
sorry. That's the bulk of my portfolio. So yes.
Oh, yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
everybody wants to talk about tech, and I want to talk about crypto, but everybody loves tech now. Software is eating the world. Agreed, there's a trend we need to get behind, but that's not the only universe, right? If you
For sure.
buy the S&P 500, you don't have that much tech exposure to begin
For
with,
sure, for
and
sure.
I don't know if anybody wants 100% tech exposure.
For sure, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what's happened, right? All your growth stocks.
Except for Microsoft Fang, right? Because
Except for facts.
the mega tech is still doing amazingly well. I don't know
I
how
love
they
how
do
they're
it.
mega tech now. They're no longer big tech. They're mega tech. $3 billion. We
I
wanted
mean,
to talk about that,
you're
right?
above a trillion, right?
Yes,
Apple is
yes,
nearing
yes, yes, yes.
3 trillion.
Three
It's
trillion.
insane.
Yes. Insane,
3
insane. Just for
trillion.
selling
Yeah.
tags anyway. Good, good.
Cool. All right. I think that's about it for today. Any other thing you wanted to mention or point out? Since we
No,
have a rare guest on the show, I'll
yeah,
leave this to you.
I will. I'm standing in for Rakesh, right? So great job what you guys are doing. I think a lot of people are loving the show, so that's good. Next week I'll be back again to get it together with Jeff, right? So I think that's kind of
Hooray!
where we are. Woo. And yeah, I don't really have a lot. I would say for all of you tuning in, tomorrow will be quite a big day in the markets because of the whole FOMC meeting and to see how it plays out. So we also want to be on it. We want to be talking about it, but we're talking about it next week. Let us internalize, let the market kind of work through its magic. If you're ready, you're ready already. If you're not ready, you still wait for us to expand on it, right? Then it's okay. You can wait a little longer, right? So I think that's kind of
Yeah, don't make hasty decisions. Wait a week and then
yes.
decide. Just nice
Yeah, wait
after
a
all this
week and then
episode.
think about it. Yes, just brief, think about it. Right. So we will be back, and I will be not as rare next week. I will be back again. Right. So I think that's kind of where it is, and then Rakesh will take over and come back to lead the show. So yes, that's it.
Cool. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Always nice chatting with you.
It was fun. I love it, and take care, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.